Mangwana Nimalelepo Vukenjani, Kleklasvanave Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show, bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. You are joined by Ashwin Berry, and later on the show, I'll be joined by Mike Sichula as he brings us the news stories from Zambia. But these are some of our top stories today. Nigeria's anti-graft agency recovers nearly $30 million in corruption probe, and Kenya police chief criticized for warning striking doctors. This is Africa Good Morning. Top stories shortly. Nigeria's anti-corruption agency has recovered $28.88 million after launching an investigation into alleged fraud at a government ministry responsible for tackling poverty, a spokesperson said. Betta Edu, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, was suspended in January, less than 6 months after her appointment by President Bola Tinubu, who came to power last year on a promise to revive growth and fight corruption. Economic and Financial Crimes Commission spokesperson Dele Oyewale said in a statement that the probe ordered by the president had uncovered a system and intricate web of fraudulent practices. Now, a group of civil and human rights groups in Kenya have demanded for an apology from the country's police chief after he vowed to take action against striking health workers. Public hospital doctors from the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union have been striking for just over a month, citing grievances like the non-payment of salary arrears and delays by the government to deploy medical interns. Clinical officers who are less qualified than doctors but have similar responsibilities have also walked out. Inspector General of Police Japhet Kome on Sunday accused the health workers of being a public nuisance by blocking roads and blowing whistles during demonstrations, thus causing discomfort to patients in hospital and the general public. Now in our next story, the Indian River County Sheriff's Office in Southeast Florida in the USA says it solved the oldest cold case in its history, the murder of Hiram Ross Graham, a decorated World War II veteran. Graham witnessed the horrors of the Battle of the Bulge and the liberation of 2 concentration camps. Upon returning to Indian River County after the war, he became a beloved milkman, the sheriff's office said in a statement. In April of 1968, Graham set out on his familiar delivery route. However, he did not return home after work. The IRCSO launched a search and located Graham's body and truck deep in the woods. He had been shot several times, but despite all their efforts, the killer eluded justice for 56 years. Now, almost 6 decades later, the so-called milkman homicide has been solved, reports CBS News. Thomas J. Williams has been identified as Graham's killer. He died in 2016. The case went cold until 2006 when Larry Graham, the victim's son, who was 16 years old when his father was killed, was interviewed by a local media outlet about the case. Now, Donald Trump became the first former U.S. president to stand a criminal trial when he appeared in a Manhattan court yesterday to face charges stemming from a hush money payment to a porn star that could complicate his bid to win back the White House. Wearing his signature blue suit and red tie, Trump, 77, sat at the defense table while Justice Juan Merchan set limits on witnesses and evidence to be presented at trial and denied a motion by Trump's lawyers to have the judge recuse himself. Trump's legal team has for months filed a flurry of legal motions to delay or derail the 4 criminal cases against him. Trump, the 2024 Republican candidate for president, is required to attend the trial, which is expected to last through May. The selection of 12 jurors and 6 alternates from a pool of Manhattan residents is expected to take about a week, followed by witness testimony. Now we swing down to Mozambique as a premier event set to shape the trajectory of the thriving LPG market in the Southern and East Africa region. With the participation of 40 exhibitors and 2,000 regional stakeholders, it's an expo that stands as the most significant gathering in the area, poised to unlock new horizons in the LPG sector. In a groundbreaking move, the expo combines the strengths of the two biggest expos in the regions to create a unified platform. This merger aims to open up more LPG opportunities and bridge solutions between Southern and East Africa. By fostering collaboration and synergies, the event seeks to accelerate development of the LPG sector, ensuring a sustainable, prosperous future for the regions. In the current landscape, Southern and East Africa's LPG opportunities are driven by population growth, urbanization, energy crises, and rising demand for cleaner energy. Now, despite substantial LPG consumption growth, challenges like inadequate infrastructure, affordability, and accessibility do persist. All right, those have been our top stories on Africa Good Morning. After the break, I'm going to be talking to Mike Sichula as he brings us the pertinent stories stemming from Zambia.
Hello, Namapia. Ons is by die kus en ons is lus.
By the Easter shot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes. Please, today you make sure that we are fed. Sorry, excuse.
You are with Africa Good Morning. It's time to talk to Mike Sichula. Mike Muribanji.
Tiri Bueno Muribanji, Africa Good Morning to our dear viewers across the African continent.
Tiri Bueno. Now, in your first story, what is the update on the hospitalized 2012 AFCON winner Rainford Kalaba, who survived a fatal road accident recently?
Yes, so to our viewers who may not be privy to this information, the accident happened 2 days ago where Mr. Rainford Kalaba, aged 38, was involved in a fatal road accident along the Great North Road, somewhere in the Kafue district area, where the occupant, as she tried, the female, Mr. Kalaba, who is a female driver, who tried to overtake, but her judgment was not correct. She ended up hitting into a truck of a petroleum company. So as of the latest update by the university teaching hospitals here in Lusaka, Mr. Kalaba's conditions, according to doctors, they say it has shown significant improvement, with doctors noting a positive response to treatment. He is currently in a stable condition, which, according to doctors, again, is encouraging news for his recovery. So also doctors at the medical, they are saying that Mr. Kalaba has shown significant progress, and they are committed to providing with necessary treatment to facilitate his improvement. So he is currently admitted at the university teaching hospitals in Lusaka. Then the female occupant who died on the scene, she'll be buried tomorrow here in Lusaka.
Our condolences to her family, and we certainly wish Mr. Kalaba a speedy recovery. Now let's move on to your next story. Zambia has registered over $50 billion in investment pledges, and this is just in the last 3 years, Mike.
Yeah, this information has been availed to the public by the Zambia Development Agency that says that the 50 billion United States dollars investment is in pledges, and according to the ZDA Director General Albert Hakwampa, he has attributed in this investment flow to an attractive business environment that government has created. He said this in Kitwe on the Copper Belt when he visited one of the companies which has set up a a company that will be producing beverages at a cost of 27 million United States dollars and creating hundreds of jobs. So this, he said, is one of those investment that has come in the last 3 years because of the good investment environment that the current administration has created.
All right, Mike. Now, it seems Lusaka is rather chilly with the coldest temperatures in the country currently at 20 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, this, according to the Zambia Meteorological Department, they says the cold weather being experienced in most part of the country is caused by strong moisture and stable wind from the southeast of the continent. So the Lusaka, as of yesterday, recorded the lowest temperatures in the country of about 20 degrees Celsius, and this is expected to, in the next 2 days, the weather is expected to become slightly warmer. But provinces such as Eastern, Central, and Lusaka provinces will experience strong winds of about 40 kilometers per hour. So people have been advised to remain indoors and also to keep warm, considering that also health authorities are saying if people do not take precautions, the advent of the coronavirus could also become something that they need to be wary about, because this cold weather, you need to keep warm. And also, they have also advised farmers to take advantage of the increased moisture content to prepare for winter crop planting.
Yes, indeed. Sounds wise there, Mike. Now, in the last of your stories, authorities have banned charcoal burning in areas where trees have been depleted.
Yeah, so charcoal in Zambia is one of the widely used energy sources. So charcoal, especially when Zambia now is experiencing 8 hours of load shedding, so households are forced to use charcoal for their cooking, and also for those that are involved in poultry businesses. At an industrial level, charcoal is also widely used. But Minister of Economy and Green Environment, Collins Nzovu, he says that charcoal burning needs to be stopped in areas where trees have depleted. So this measure is starting this week. He says charcoal burners have resorted to cutting down small trees for charcoal, which is not good for the environment. And also the minister is aware that the current long hours of load shedding is something that needs not to be a justification for people to cut down trees. So we are expecting a lot of a backlash from majority citizens who do not have electricity, and also those that are using charcoal for business activities, because it is one of the only sources of energy that is cheap. Even other alternative measures that people have come up in terms of creating alternative charcoal, according to most people, that is expensive, and it is not something that they can rely on to maintain their businesses.
Certainly understand their frustrations and, of course, the government's urgency in protecting the environment. We'll see how that one unfolds, and we'll trust that, just like today, you will update us. Thank you for bringing us the news stories from Zambia, Mike.
Thank you very much, Africa. Good morning to our dear viewers.
Africa, good morning indeed. So, as Mike said, it is chilly in Lusaka. If you're in Windhoek, you're feeling that chilliness, particularly in the morning. But here are the rest of the weather predictions. Getting into economic news stories, the OPEC Plus oil producers group, having lost Angola and other players in recent years, are eyeing Namibia for possible membership as it sets up what could be Africa's fourth largest output by the next decade, an African industry official and sources told Reuters. Total Energies and Shell in recent years have made discoveries estimated at 2.6 billion barrels, setting the stage for the southern African country to plan production from about 2030. The initial focus for OPEC Plus would be to see Namibia join its Charter of Cooperation, the sources said, a grouping that engages in longer-term dialogue about energy markets. Brazil joined the charter in January. Eventually, OPEC, the core oil exporters group that with Russia and others forms OPEC Plus, would like to see Namibia become a full member, said NJ Ayuk, executive chairman of the African Energy Chamber, which he said had been involved in facilitating talks between the two sides. OPEC has begun its charm offensive, he said, adding that the outcome of the talks were unclear at this stage. OPEC did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Now, OPEC Secretary General Haitham Al-Ghais was quoted in February as saying OPEC was holding talks with several nations on joining the charter without naming them. Now we move over to Egypt as the country plans to build 2 solar power stations worth 1 billion Egyptian pounds, the equivalent of $20.60 million, financed by the European Union, the Petroleum Ministry said on Monday. A 550 million Egyptian pound project at the Asyut oil refining company with a capacity of 10 megawatts is expected to be completed within 11 months, the statement said. Another project to produce electricity from solar energy is planned at the Egyptian General Petroleum Corporation with a capacity of 6.5 megawatts at an investment cost of 500 million Egyptian pounds, the equivalent to $10.42 million. The two projects will be financed through an EU grant. High levels of solar irradiation and expanses of desert mean Egypt has vast renewable potential, industry players say. The government has brought forward a goal of producing 42% of its power generation from renewables to 2030 from 2035. The North African nation is trying to position itself as a renewable energy hub, but faces competition from other countries in North Africa and the Middle East. Certainly interesting news there for Egypt and Namibia particularly. The world is obviously watching. Let's see how the country manages its natural resources for the benefit of its people. Those have been our economic news stories. We're going to head over to the indicators just before Ari Hochad brings us the sport.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, and starting off with rugby news first. It's rugby news from the Women's Six Nations, and it's England and France leading the way. They will play on the 27th of April. That will be the last game of the series, and that will in the big way determine the winner. At the moment, England and France, after 3 games, both of them unbeaten. What happened over the weekend is that England had a big win. They had a away game against Scotland, and they won that game by 46 points to 0. And also France that beat Italy at home by 38 points to 15. So it is England with 15 points after 3 games, and it is France with 14 points after 3 games. And in the other game over the weekend, Ireland beat Wales, and that score was 36 points to 5. This coming weekend, it will continue the Six Nations for women, and it will be England that play Ireland, and Wales will play against France. That's 2 of the games this coming weekend. And continuing international sports news with the MotoGP motorcycle racing news, and it's Maverick Virales that won the Grand Prix of the Americas over the weekend. He made history as well, became the first racer ever to win with 3 different teams. He did it over the weekend in his Aprilia, and previously also won Grand Prix on a Suzuki and also on a Yamaha. Second in the race was Pedro Acosta. He's from Spain, the young teenager doing well this season. He's on a KTM. And in third position was Ennio Bastianini. He's on a Ducati in third position. The points table at the moment is Jorge Martin leading with 80 points, and it's Bastianini second with 59, and it's Brad Binder that's in 6th position. He's from South Africa on his KTM. He was 9th in the Grand Prix of the Americas over the weekend. The next Grand Prix will be the Spanish Grand Prix, and that will be on the 28th of April. And closing off today's international sports news with tennis news. It is news from the Barcelona Open on the ATP Men's Tour that will start this week. And it's a Monte Carlo Open that is done. It is Stefanos Tsitsipas that won that title in Monte Carlo. News from the Barcelona Open is that Carlos Alcaraz, the defending champion, will not be able to play in the tournament. He's still injured, so he had to withdraw from the tournament. He also won 2 years ago. Other news is good news for the organizers is that Rafael Nadal, also from Spain, he will play in the tournament. He's coming back from an injury. He's a 22-time world major champion, and he's been out since January also because of injury. But the 37-year-old confirmed that he will play in the Barcelona Open. He will play in the first round against Italian Flavio Caboli, and that is Rafael Nadal making his comeback in world tennis. That's international sports news for today. Hope you have a great sport day, and we'll talk international sport again tomorrow. Goodbye.
We are all seeking connection to each other, to the world, to the spaces we exist in.
Is het van Seil wat hem kom uitrol hier van die posisie.
Poor sportsmanship right now from the lads.
You might be physically ready, your body is ready, but mentally.
Here's another chance, and it is a goal from Vindo.
Wys hy sê wie hy is aan neertrek en daai bal het my grond gevat. Ja, hy het grond gevat en is hy
But just enough next.
Shh. Running that mountain up. Okay, so we will be doing this for the mountain climber. More advanced, slightly advanced.
So is jou trolley reg? Want
I love it. I love it. So then
Kickstart our countdown at number 5 with this one.
Op Netwerk TV se Klets Kompas gesels ons nuus van 'n Maandag tot Donderdag. Ons kyk ook na die weer en meer. Stories wat jou raak en stories wat saak maak.
They've made a mistake in denying me bail, and they've made several other mistakes in many other cases.
The channels that teach us something new or reflect our expression. So it goes beyond switching to the right station. It's about choosing the experience that can adorn the present, dressing it with our tastes as we expand our preferences, because what we are actually connecting to is boundless, limitless human energy, and this is the spirit of NTV. Thank you for staying with Africa. Good morning throughout the broadcast. Let's have a look at the headlines from this morning. Nigeria's anti-graft agency recovers nearly $30 million in corruption probe. Kenya police chief criticized for warning striking doctors. And OPEC woos Namibia as African nation prepares to produce from 2030. Those have been some of our top stories on Africa. Good morning. Do make sure you check out the show every morning. DSTV 285, GoTV 25, oneup2.com. That's every weekday. From me, Ashwin Berry, Soreja Kanaka.